What's going on, YouTube? It is Friday. We're inside the Hollow City, inside of Cold Harbor, to go over our first of 2 weekend vendors. These bad boys are available 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until early Monday morning. Now, as always, we start with the furnishing vendor. Now, the reason why you may want to consider some of these items, one, you never know when you need a burned corpse, only 2,500 gold to buy this bad boy, worth 9,400. Is that you may want to be entering some decoration contests, Halloween themed ones, for example. You just may want to have, an assortment of laboratory instruments. Interesting way to quantify those. It's really nice to have a price checker on console pop up these bad boys as we go through these, because I feel like oftentimes it's hard to know which of these are actually valuable. So this is the new item, the Worm Cult Cage Closed. I will be truthful. Generally, cages don't do very well, but I will say the hanging one does seem to do very well. I think just because it is very unique, and if you wanted to, you could flip it upside down and phase it into the ground and use it as a cage on the ground as well. Because always remember too, you can flip-flop these items upside down and around. But overall, my recommendation is definitely the hanging cage. The torture wheel is pretty good too, especially if you want to, it's animated, it's audible, so it's very cool. Overall though, this is a very good week, but it's specific. If you buy these to resell these, you're gonna need to resell them around Halloween, and if you want to use them, obviously you're using them probably for a Halloween themed house and or contest. So the kind of scope for them is more narrow versus furniture, which just looks cool. Those ones a little bit more broad. We are narrow, but we do have good stuff. And as we jump into our second vendor here, just a quick reminder to like and subscribe on the video. It helps significantly. And you can see beautiful map today. We always like to see that as we pop in here to our lower populated campaigns. Always good to see the blue doing well, regardless of the campaign. And as always, if you need help finding these, you can go to esohelper.com. We give more information about these vendors so we can spend more time just discussing the sets. Because as always, we've got the sets. And we start with Monster Helms this time versus Shoulders, which is good. You might save yourself an interesting farm. Our first monster set is from Ice Reach, which is notoriously not super fun to farm on Veteran, but it's not too terrible. 1 bar of Magicka, 2nd bar Wong Combat, casting an ability with a cast time or channel. An ability grants you a damage shield of 24/12 damage for 6 seconds. If the damage shield is broken, you restore 951 Magicka. This can occur every 7 seconds. Important to note that we are in Cyrodiil, so this is actually probably closer to 5,000 of a damage shield, and overall a 5,000 damage shield. You're constantly, able to get it decently up. 7-second uptime. It's fine. I would say it's a 7 out of 10. I believe, and somebody can correct me in the comments below, is that if you use a heavy attack, that will also proc this set. So you could use this on a heavy attack build that gives you a little more junk in the trunk and gives you some more recovery, which sometimes people do struggle with when they're newer to like heavy attack builds, but I would still give it a 7. It's not objectively bad. None of what it's doing is bad. The problem is that as a resource recovery set, it's not anywhere near fantastic. As a shield giving set, it's not anywhere near fantastic. So it's just kind of this weird hodgepodge of like things that are good but don't really go together. Next up is from Frost Vault. Now this veteran mode will have you questioning if your friends have any brain cells, but important to note that Stonekeepers is one of the only monster sets that has a 1-piece that is tri-set of stam, mag, and health, which can be very helpful if you're making a PvP build where you want kind of, instead of maybe wearing a heavy armor piece of trainee, maybe you want to slap on something like Stonekeepers, get a little more set diversity for your resources. And then you can run obviously a mythic and the 2 5-piece sets, yada, yada, yada. I do like it for its 1-piece. I have used it as a 1-piece set before. I think it's pretty good for that. Death Dealer's Feet, Magicka builds are great for it. But anyway, its 2nd piece is when you block, you gain an energy charge stack. When you gain 6 charges, you release the energy, restoring 2393 Magicka, stamina, and heal. After releasing the charges, though, you can't gain new charge for 14 seconds. So that's where this set really kind of fumbles the bag here, because if you do the math, you're not really getting a whole lot of Magicka recovery, in the sense that if you were to actually do the math here, I think you're thinking about 350 Magicka and stamina recovery. Healing is obviously going to be affected by a lot of other things, and that's not bad, but it's a monster set slot too. So, you're probably substituting a mythic for this. Yes, it used to be pretty good for tanking, but now tanks don't really need sustain sets. So it's like, why does a tank need to run this? In PvP, it's just so finicky, and it just doesn't compare to like Roxas, which is just better value and less annoying to proc and charge. So I would still give it a 7, though. It is still objectively a good set. 350 recovery over a 14-second period is still good. The problem is that it's just outclassed. And I think that's what people need to understand about a 7 out of 10. There's 8s, 9s, and 10s that are all better. So yes, a 7 might seem high mentally when I say that number out loud, but what I mean to say to you is that there's a whole tier above that, a whole tier above that, and then a whole tier above that when it comes to sets that are better. It's good, but it is not great, it's not fantastic, and it's certainly not best in the slot. But it's a fun set to talk about nonetheless. Next up is another dungeon set, but this is a 5-piecer. This one comes from Stone Gardens, a DLC zone. Now, important to note about this set is that it is unique. So it gives you health, armor, health. When you drink a potion while in combat, you and up to 3 other group members gain 44 ultimate. This effect can occur once every 30 seconds. This set I like this set a lot, but I think it's narrow in scope and what it's good for. It's great, I think, for certain 4-man content, being able to give yourself that much ultimate, being able to also stack it with major and minor heroism is pretty good. You might see support PvP characters run this. It's hard to put on a scale how good of a set this is. I lean towards saying like, yeah, this is a bit of a juicer magooser. Not a whole lot, just a slight smidgen of juice, but I would say this is like an 8 to 8.5, 9 out of 10 when it comes to support, just because ultimates are so valuable. People literally run Crypt Cannon, which is a weird ass mythic because it's good to give people ultimate. So if you can give people around you ultimate, that is always going to be generally helpful and productive. It's just weird because this set is like, it's kind of got usage over here, usage over here. So I do like it. If you ever think to yourself, man, I wish I was in a group of people who really had a lot of ultimate, we could bang out some people together, like we could all drop our Dawnbreakers of Justice at the same time, throw on our cases. Next up is from Unhallowed Grave. Now this is Grave Guardian. Now this one gives you stam, health, summon a stone aura while bracing, hardening your group and nearby group members, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 44/30. Now, what I don't like about this set is it doesn't tell you how far, what is nearby. Very objective what that means. So don't like that part of the set, but 44/30 physical and spell resistance is good, and it will stack with every other damage reduction thing, every other increase to physical and spell resistance that you have. It is great for that purpose. And for those of you who are like 44/30, what is that? That's like almost 6 to 7% damage reduction from physical and spell resistance. That could be a pretty big game changer that will stack with everything else you got going on. This is a great support set. I don't know how hard I would tier this. I mean, you might see this in ball groups. You might see people doing this in harder types of content because you're worried your friend Brandon is going to get killed because his wife keeps unplugging his Xbox. So you need him to have a little more junk in the trunk because the mobs keep killing him in the dungeon, even though he tells you that he's ready to try to do a no-death speed run, hard mode run, but he really isn't. This could be a set that could save dear Brandon's life, and I think it does have some utilization for that. I think its best uses is going to be for PvP, being able to give it to a group of people around you. Certainly it's a good physical and spell resistance increase that will also stack with everything else, but also if you're trying to do some no-death runs, certainly one of the ways that you can stack a bunch of resistances and, you know, shields and other things to keep your group members from dying. Next up, we have something that I don't think has happened before. I'll give you 3 seconds to figure out what it is. I'll give you a clue. Look at the middle part of your screen and the right part of your screen. And it is because from Western Skyrim, we have Venomous. Now, I am actually using Venomous on this build. What does Venomous do? It gives you crit chance, weapon and spell damage, and then, well, over here, we press the button. Dealing critical damage inflicts Hunter's Venom on your enemy for 10 seconds, dealing 3372 damage to your target and enemies within 6 meters of them every 2 seconds. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. It scales off your weapon and spell damage. So when I'm procced up, beefed up, bricked up, you know, we got a little more weapon and spell damage, a little more poison damage. It's an AoE. This is what I use on my poison build. I am fairly certain this is going to be the set that I do. Basically, your goal with this set is to just stack poison on your enemies. Why do you want to do that? Well, a couple reasons. One is there's 3 ways to kill people in PvP. You can surprise them. Let's say you're mounted on a horse, you're checking your phone, you got to carry your pigeon from your loved one. Somebody comes out of stealth and kills you. That's a surprise. The next way to kill somebody is you can whittle down their resources, right? So let's say I'm running out of magicka, I'm running out of stamina, don't got enough junk in the trunk, I die. The third way to kill somebody is if you're fighting somebody and you burst your combo off effectively. And this kind of goes to that kind of second and third way where you can whittle down their resources and you can surprise them, in that sense that if you go behind cover, you probably don't recognize how many damage dots are on you, and it will just stack and then kill you. And it's very effective at doing that. And I love that set for this, because oftentimes I'll see people, they spend more time trying to go behind cover and break line of sight versus cleansing themselves, and then they die behind a tree. It's very satisfying as a set to do. It does require a lot of setup. I don't know how I would scale it. Even though I am running it, you might think it's an instant 10 out of 10 best in slot poison set. I'm gonna be modest with an 8 out of 10. I think it's very niche. It has great utilization, don't get me wrong. If you want to make like alerts build and just start sniping people, poisoning them, it's great. But I don't know how high I would put it in the actual tier if it was a standalone set and didn't require all of this specific build setup of poisons on poisons on poisons and dots. So overall, I'm going to be modest with an 8. You probably could argue a 9, even a 10, because it does have some shining moments, but it's a fun set. It's one that I'm actively using right now, but I haven't posted the build yet because I'm still tweaking and thinking if I want to change one set out for a different one. Not this one. This one's pretty cool. Next up is from The Reach, Wit's Knight's Ring. Now, this one gives you 4 weapon and spell, weapon and spell, weapon and spell, weapon and spell. So it's 4-piece is weapon and spell. This is actually used very frequently with like mythics. So you can run this as a 4-piece and then a mythic and then a 5-piece and a 2-piece. Because its 5-piece bonus of increase your weapon and spell damage by 369 against enemies afflicted with a poison damaging effect is certainly not hard to proc, but it's also not really super great in the sense that you can get a lot more weapon and spell damage in 2025 from different ways. And it's not going to be used for PvE really, because weapon and spell damage is generally better for PvP because you're generally spending more time doing that. Although I will say the Venomous Ring definitely could be used for PvE. I would say it's probably like a 7 out of 10 for a PvE set, just because you can stack poisons on poisons on poisons in PvE as well. But this one actually gives you a damage on the PvE enemies, which would be helpful. This one just increases your weapon and spell damage, which isn't giving you enough, in my opinion, of value. So I would say for its niche utilization of pairing it with a mythic, running it as a 4-piece with a 5 other piece, and then a monster set, you could argue it's like a 7.5. I know tons of people that use it like that, but that's really kind of, it feels like you're not even using it as the set. You're just kind of like, I'm just running this as a 4-piece. So it's weird because it feels like it's not really the set you're running. You're just running a 4-bar set or a 4-piece set. It just feels weird to me to rate it that highly. I feel weird about a lot of the sets this week because I want to try to be fair and accurate in my assessment of these bad boys, and with them being support sets and sets that I'm actively using a lot of the times and or experimented with, I really want to make sure that my bias is not shining through for these bad boys. But everyone, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Definitely the highlights of this week, if you're interested, is going to be the items from the luxury furnishing vendor. You might think to yourself, Jake, you talked about all of those sets in the golden vendor. Are any of them worth it? No. You may copy the build that I will post that this character is actively running. You will buy it in purple and you will upgrade it unless you have tons of alliance points, which the Vengeance campaign is coming out soon and will give you tons of alliance points. If you want to invest in some gold rings, you certainly can, but I will tell you, you don't need to. It's very rare to buy a 5-piece set from the golden. It's really a monster set time saver. And, you know, helmet and shoulder, helmet if you don't want to farm the dungeon on veteran, the shoulder if you don't want to waste your undaunted keys. So from that aspect, just keep in mind your resources. If you certainly wanted to buy them, I definitely think that a lot of the sets here are good, like Archesis, for example. Even Grave Guardian is good. None of these sets actually are arguably bad. They're all above average by significant margins. Good, great, fantastic tier. Really the worst one is Witch Knights for the 5-piece. But you just can't buy. I mean, look at the average sell value. Now granted, this doesn't factor in this being gold, but you probably are going to get a purple ring for like 6,000 to 7,000 gold. Unless chromium plating gets slurped off the market, you're always going to be able to upgrade this at a very affordable rate and have a fantastic set. which is why I love the ESO Xbox community for its economy. But even the PC economy, the juice is not worth the squeeze. And these monster sets, unless you want a really good one piece that for some reason you just really don't want to go farm this on veteran, which to be fair, is not fun to do. Maybe you want to buy it, but even still, take your Undaunted keys, get some shoulders when rolling through Urgalac, you'll get better value. But everyone, thank you guys so much again for watching. As always, we're doing our 3 giveaway drawings. All you need to do to enter is leave a comment in the comments below / like on the video. Second thing is just make sure you're subscribed. And the third thing is look for hidden word be flashed upon the screen. If you're the first person to find and comment that word, you will win. We hide at least 1 hidden word per month. It technically could be on the video, but I have also hid it in the description and the comments. Fair disclosure. So if you can find the word, comment it. It will be at least 1 per month. But if we do an ad read for a sponsor, we'll have at least 2. So thank you guys so much again for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.